constituency and to the polling station. And they are signed by all the political party representatives.
Oh, Master, you know be true. Then if you print out security for night.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is impossible, my brother. It is impossible. Remember that the political party representatives, the security agents,
Broadcasting Corporation. You can also catch excerpts of the news on Instagram at the gbcghanaonline.com and also at GTV. My name is Doreen Ampofo. Let's get details. Mr. Alexander Penyomarking has strongly condemned the National Democratic Congress NDC for their conduct in Parliament on Thursday, October 17, addressing the media in Parliament a day after the Speaker declared 4 seats vacant. The Efutu MP said the actions of the NDC is unpleasant and undemocratic, and hence their walkout. The ruling by Speaker Alban Bagbin affects MPs Cynthia Morris in Aguna West, Kwejo Asante Suhum Peter Kwache Aka independent candidates or switched allegiance. The decision has led to power changes in the legislature, with the NDC, which has been the minority side, now becoming the majority with 136 seats as against the governing NPP with 135 seats.
Clearly, Mr. Speaker wants to be in the good books of his party. He wants to remain Speaker again for a second term. He is no more seeing himself as a Speaker who is a father of all. And that we find very disappointing and most unfortunate. I brought it to his attention in his office as Majority Leader, Haruna Idrisu. I felt it was important that we test the law at the Supreme Court, and I had so done so. In fact, before I left his office, Mr. Haruna Idrisu walked into Mr. Speaker's office with a copy of his motion on notice, which motion was a petition to Mr. Speaker to deal with the issues that had arisen. I took my copy and I drew Mr. Speaker's attention that the bailiffs were going to serve my process on the Legal Directorate of Parliament. The Legal Directorate refused to take the process. I went again to Mr. Speaker. This time when I went, Mr. Speaker explained to me that indeed it is true and it is not his making. It was an order from the Supreme Court registry. I didn't have a problem with that. That, okay, we could then wait and serve the process on Monday. Meanwhile, I had Mr. Speaker's assurance that he was not going to do anything to undermine the process in court. Unfortunately, when we entered the chamber on that afternoon, Honorable Kezla Tuforsen, the minority leader, all that had been said, the argument from both sides, to a committee to look into the matter. So he sprang a surprise on us yesterday. Well, I will not begrudge him. As our first step, because of the chaos he has created, we have boycotted parliamentary sitting. And we are going to pursue our matter in court until the court determines the matter. If the court makes a determination, so be it, would abide by the rulings of the court. We in the MPP are Democrats. We believe in the rule of law, and that is why we calmly left the chamber for them.
For a section of society, the ruling by the Speaker of Parliament will strengthen the democratic processes, as the House will require compromise and consensus building if Parliament will continue to perform effectively, especially ahead of the 2024 general election.
That it is happening, something we never thought was going to happen, but it is happening now, just to serve as a deterrent to those who are coming, that, hey, you can't just come to Parliament and have your way with things. It's a fair argument that we are too young to go through such incidences. But the thing is, we need some. How do you determine how far-reaching your democracy is if some of these things don't come? Because now again, then again, like I said, now we are going out. Now they have to really sit down and listen when it comes to conducting the business of the country.
Maybe trying to say, yeah, go to Abeyino. Ebema problem about house on the pa. Because me GD pass and yen nyina na NDC for ne NPP for ya adwen. And I see anu so Omo beye omo MPP ewo power enso oiwo enipa ketwa wo first parliament no enya ade bia no mbeji atum enya ade bia no mbeji atum ti ombo mpa pa anya sa adwuma ombe ne de ebeka akiri. A time is coming now we are going to see worse than this. Ebedu baby no say Yerena say government in power say one kasa member of parliament or two for na say wuntia obe resign.
The work of the parliamentarian is lobbying. It does not mean that you have a majority, so you have your way, or minority, you have your own way. It's a matter of lobbying. If the majority or the minority were able to lobby properly, I think it will go on their way.
We must agree that democracy is a very complex thing. It has several dimensions. So we are relatively young as a democracy, you see. So we must allow our institutions to evolve. They will make mistakes here and there, then they will correct it, and then by so doing, we'll grow. They need to compromise. Where the new, how shall I call them, the new majority are issues that are in the interest of the republic, not any individual section of the country. So it is that.
Yet to hear and rule on an injunction application in court filed by the majority leader in Parliament, Mr. Alexander Penyomarking, back on October 17, the Speaker made a determination on the matter. Was the ruling within the Speaker's jurisdiction? Private legal. So first tell us, what do you make of the Speaker's ruling, and was the ruling within the Speaker's jurisdiction?
Thank you very much. I must say that from Parliament, our constitution lies with the High Court. Article 99, clause 1, makes it very clear, quite unambiguous, that when it comes to issues to the determination of validity of an MP or his or her vacation of a seat or a seat, same lies with the High Court. So there's nowhere in the Constitution which has been set out that the Speaker can at any point in time make a declaration of vacation of seat whatsoever. That is totally or manifestly unconstitutional. What the law, what the act, the process or the provision of the Constitution say is about the Clerk of Parliament notifying the Electoral Commissioner that a seat has become vacant. So those declarations. We are getting this interpretation quite wrong by the Speaker. And you see, it appears as if same is actuated by political frames and caprices. But within those provisions, the import of the granted are quite clear. It deals with crossing carpet to another party when that said MP came on the ticket of a particular party. So the essence of it is to ensure that the mandate that has been given not at any point in time relinquish on that mandate, on the ticket of that party. And so when an extremely future plans of MPs, the MP is said to have vacated his post by going or parting ways acting against the route, his party, where he belongs to. That is not standing on their ticket or making a decision adverse to their interest, which in a larger extent means that they are severed ties with them. But in this case, these MPs are still in Parliament, and they have not severed ties with the party that brought them to power.
But sir, the provision also mentions the case of going independent.
Yes. You know, see, Article 97(1), GH are the center of this whole matter. an MP cannot cross carpet. That is, you cannot renege on the party that brought you to parliament. Ensure that parliamentary businesses are carried out based on the mandate that the MPs, obtained before coming to parliament. So, in the case of independence, it applies that you cannot come to parliament on the ticket of, let's say, MPP or NDC, and then during your tenure, you decide to cross carpet. So that is the import, that is the intent of the drafters. It doesn't even talk about the futuristic plan, the political plan of those members, which have got nothing.
The right, he didn't have the right powers to make this comment or the ruling he made, and that it lied with the High Court. But I've also heard people who say that Parliament seems to have the same powers as the High Court.
The concept of separation of powers, though it is not clearly stated that in our constitution, issues of separation of powers and check and balance. But one can easily conclude that there is higher level of scrutiny of each other's business. And so it is only the High Court that can make a determination or declaration that a seat has become vacant. And so when it even happens in an instant whereby, and so the Speaker has no business whatsoever to make such extremely benevolent of the MPs concerning their political life. Article 97, 1, H, or G and H deals with their current mandate in Parliament. That if they are minded to cross carpet, then they are deemed to have vacated their seat.
Now, the Speaker made the decision despite a legal challenge by Mr. Alexander Penyomarking, seeking an injunction at the Supreme Court, seeking to halt Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu's action regarding the status of the 4 members of Parliament. Do you think that the Speaker should have waited for the ruling? And in fact, if he should have waited, is there going to be any impact? Should the Supreme Court make a decision what in any way impact the
party? So, by the mere fact that an application was filed at the Supreme Court, should have said no order restraining him from making any determination pronouncement on the matter. Now, our constitution is very clear on this matter. When any act is inconsistent, whether commission or omission, it's inconsistent with the dictate of the Constitution, that particular act by itself is null and void. But then the pronouncement must be made by the Supreme Court. So, Speaker of Parliament. And, in the case of Joe White, and then the likes of, they declared themselves up as independent candidates for the coming election. They were allowed. It's set. And people who always want to capitalize on, loopholes in our political system are treated by political things and caprices. Obviously, they are likely to follow this bad precedent. And that is what we are happening now. That's what's happening now.
Joining us. That's private legal Mr. Rashid Draman. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So thanks so much for your time. We've heard the private legal practitioner say...
Who was speaking?
Well, we had a private legal practitioner, Mr. Kwesi Boama.
Okay. So your question is?
So he mentioned that he didn't lie with the Speaker to make the decision to declare the seats vacant. The power lied with the High Court. Now,
we are going to hear from the courts. The processes have started. The majority side has said that they have gone to court. So let's position of 97 G and H. For some of us of law, I'm not a lawyer, but I've heard some lawyers argue that way. In the case of Right Honorable Duajaho, when he became Speaker, the constitutional provision is that automatically you lose your seat and a by-election is done and so on and so forth. People make comparison between that in terms of the processes and this particular instance. When Right Honorable Speaker Okwe declared that seat vacant, I didn't hear any court issues then. So what is different now that people are calling on the Speaker and saying the Speaker was wrong and so on and so forth? We are all in this country. So I believe the thing now to do is to wait and hear from the court so that those who hold that view can be properly advised whether the position that the Right Honorable took.
Well, on the issue of processes, some argue that the two political parties involved, that's the NDC and NPP, hadn't, as in the case of the former Speaker, Mr. Michael Quay, or Professor Aaron Michael Quay's ruling on the former MP, then he wouldn't have gone.
Yes, the 7th Parliament is not the 8th Parliament. In the 8th Parliament, we have a very tight balance, Honorable Speaker. So that was not going to happen. But I believe the Speaker relied on the notice of poll, records from the Electoral Independent, and the Independent has filed as an MPP candidate. So I think that, was not done in this case. At least the Speaker has some basis on which to stand. That is
Latter force and couldn't have challenged the four with a statement. Rather, he should have come on the back of a motion because a statement is supposed to elicit comments according to the standing orders of Parliament. What is the right process?
Well, you see, now people are relying on techniques. All these are aimed at maybe making the institution look, the institution has done its work. If there is any disagreement, as happens in democracies, and there is any group of people who feel the law has been interpreted wrongly, or even the standing order, I think the right thing is what the MPP has done. Let us hear from the court whether any of those processes has been violated, and indeed, if so, that nullifies the decision that the Right Honorable Speaker made yesterday, and all of us in this country would have to abide by that.
But from your experience, ideally, in such matters, should it go through the filing of a motion or just a statement?
Well, this is new for us. Only time that this has happened was in the 7th Parliament. And I think we are in a completely new kind of territory. Everybody is learning. So I am not able to say a false.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Let's move on to other stories. And Ghana is working to accelerate local vaccine development timelines to improve health security and to better prepare for future pandemics. This was the central theme of the National Vaccine Institute Public Education opportunities in building vaccine capacity, fostering public trust, and ensuring equitable access across the region.
Participants are the National Vaccine Institute Public Education Seminar on Vaccine Research and Development held in Accra celebrated Ghana's public health achievements such as the elimination of neonatal tetanus since 2011, and wild polio since 2008. The national immunization efforts. However, the country faces funding gaps as international donors withdraw support. Remains a persistent difficulty. Inspired by the 100 Days mission, Ghana is working to accelerate vaccine development. Dr. Anafi Asamoah highlighted Ghana's commitment to achieving vaccine self-reliance. He reflected on India's initial struggles in building public trust in domestically produced vaccines, warning that Ghana
producing vaccines, we must also engage in national and local conversations so that our population can better appreciate vaccine.
An epidemiologist at the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Margaret Japon, mentioned that imported products are superior.
Despite the several misconceptions, I think vaccines are safe and effective. I have taken vaccines. I've had 3. By getting vaccinated, we not only safeguard our own health, but we also contribute to the well-being of others around us.
Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Dr. Dakun, assured participants that locally produced vaccines will meet the highest international standards. She emphasized the FDA's critical role in monitoring vaccine quality and overseeing clinical trials.
If we test anything in our laboratory, it can be sold anywhere in the world. So there is no way that a vaccine manufactured locally in Ghana cannot be sold in the US after we have done the evaluation, we have monitored the trials, we have done the review of the vaccine documentation, and we've given approval. That vaccine can be sold anywhere in the world. So please, vaccines coming from Europe, vaccines manufactured in Ghana, we are positioned to ensure that the quality will be the same. So be rest assured.
Speakers on the approved in Europe and the US, but their price up to $2 million per patient makes them inaccessible to most sub-Saharan African countries. The seminar concluded with a call for stronger regional partnerships and public-private collaboration to sustain local.
Let's go on the campaign trail. Former president and flag bearer of the NDC, Mr. John Mahama, has firmly rejected calls for a debate with Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ahead of the December 7 election, saying Dr. Bawumia does not deserve the platform. Mr. Mahama dismissed the challenge during a campaign stop in the Ningo Pram constituency, where he questioned the NPP flag bearer's sudden interest in a debate, suggesting instead that the Vice President engage with Ghanaians whose lives have been negatively impacted by the current administration's policies.
Mr. John Mahama contrasted his stance with his previous debates, particularly highlighting the one he participated in debate invitations in both the 2016 and 2020 elections. Now, with the current administration under heavy scrutiny, Mr. Mahama questioned why Dr. Bawumia, who once remarked that John Mahama should debate farmers, spare parts dealers and taxi drivers, is suddenly eager for a face-off.
The current flag bearer of the NPP, who is asking me for a debate, has he forgotten what he said? That I should go to Sangma and go and debate the farmers of Sangma who don't have fertilizer. That I should go to Abosokai and go and debate the spare parts people who cannot buy dollar because dollar is 3 point something to 3 cedis point something to the dollar. He said I should go and debate the taxi drivers and the drivers who cannot buy petrol. This is the same Bawumia today asking me for a debate.
The NDC presidential candidate stated that instead of focusing on a debate, Dr. Bawumia should prioritize addressing the pressing concerns of everyday Ghanaians.
Their campaign is failing. They have no message. And so he wants to be elevated to my level. No. I know my level. He should debate the nurses who are sitting at home who have not been posted. He should go and debate the fishermen who cannot get premix and they have to go and buy premix from hairdressers alone. He should go and debate.
He further called on the Vice President to apologize to Ghanaians for the economic hardships caused by the NPP.
Has he forgotten? That is what he told me. So today, why do you want to debate me? All the people you said I should go and debate, their situation is worse now than it was in 2016. So you go and debate them, and tell them why you have mismanaged this and that you are coming to change the economy of this country. Go and explain and apologize to the people of Ghana. You owe the people of Ghana an apology, not a debate with me. Go and apologize to the people of Ghana. Don't come and debate with me. I'll not elevate you to my level. I know my level. We're winning this election.
To steer the economy back towards growth and prosperity.
Meanwhile, the NDC flag bearer drew attention to the overwhelming burden placed on parents who continue to struggle with hidden costs and logistical challenges associated with their children's education under the free SHS policy. The former president stressed the need for a comprehensive review of the initiative to make it more efficient and less stressful for families. He was addressing concerns recently raised by President Akufo-Addo regarding John Mahama's stance on the free SHS program.
They also asked me to come out clearly because I have made it clear that there are implementational problems with the free SHS. One, there's no dedicated funding. Two, parents are not happy with the double track. Three, the quality of food the children are giving is not good. And so I've said that into a dedicated fund. And that fund will be used to finance the free SHS. To decentralize the schools will be responsible for procuring the food to feed the children. We're going to make sure that it works to provide laboratories, we're going to provide dormitories, we're going to provide administration blocks, we're going to provide dining halls, and all the things that they need to be able to make.
Over 17 million soldiers died during the First World War, while many recognized the sacrifices of these heroes that the Poppy Day was instituted. At a concert to launch this year's Poppy Appeal in Accra, the Health Minister, Dr. Bernard Ukuboi, called for support for veterans and urged Ghanaians to eschew acts of violence and embrace peace during and after the election.
Poppy Day is celebrated on November 11th annually and also recognized globally as Remembrance Day. On this day in 1918, agreed to end hostilities. The Veterans Administration Ghana VAG probably discharged military personnel. It has a membership of about 19,000, including contemporary. At the military band concert under 2020, to allocate an ambulance for VAG's new clinic at Amasamang before the end of the year. He also pledged to support them with one
to this facility before the end of the year. The pension pay of the majority of our veterans is barely enough to cater for their needs as well as that of their families. This often places them in for funds through the
more support for veterans and urged Ghanaians to eschew violence and ensure peace during and after the elections.
In this election season, it is imperative any disruption or conflict can undermine and
allowances of regional and district chairmen and district secretaries from 50 cedis to between 500 and 800 cedis per month.
This awareness and screening project aimed at saving lives and raising awareness has taken place at Labawaleshi in Accra. This joint initiative, organized by Rotary Clubs of Accra, is in response to the devastating impact of breast cancer, which continues to claim many lives.
Stories of mothers, sisters and daughters losing their lives to breast cancer are common, and these losses have left lasting scars on families and communities. For some, to a disease that when detected early, Accra by offering free screenings only provides free breast cancer screenings but also serves as an educational campaign. Volunteers and healthcare professionals emphasize the importance of early detection, risk factors and preventive measures. Rotary clubs in Ghana are making logistical barriers.
What we try to do as Rotary is that we want to create more awareness so that more women know about it, get screened early so that they can be safe. Men, although about 99% of cases are related to women, the remaining 1% affect men.
Health, so we decided to partner in this project. In fact, we've been doing this awareness of breast cancer and the fact that every woman on earth living has to,
and ensuring that individuals have access to preventive care.
The Council for Scientific and Industrial Science and Technology, MESTI, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has organized the CSIR Food Fair 2024. This is to mark this year's World Food Day. Themed Food is Life, Food is Medicine, Leave No One Behind. The agricultural practices in the fight against hunger and malnutrition.
Day is celebrated globally to raise awareness of food-related challenges, and the CSIR Food Fair 2024 is to inspire collective action towards achieving food security for all. The fair showcases innovative life and preventing disease. The Chief Director at the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Esilfi Kwesen, was emphatic that nutrition, along with technology and innovation, is essential for producing food capable for withstanding climate change and disease. He mentioned the need to address these issues effectively to ensure food security and sustainability. The director of the Food Research Institute, Professor Charles Tottle, stated that the institute has developed models for food processing, preservation, distribution, and other business ideas within the food chain industry. The Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon, Madam Lydia Siriam Alhassan, encouraged industry.
I urge the CSIR to continue in its task to develop new nutrient-rich crop the nation.
The Director General, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, Professor Paul Pinnock Bosu, and Food Security and Safety for the Nation.
Leaving no one behind begins with the child. As the child is the future, a national program to age 5, especially the most vulnerable of children, as well as pregnant 5 years.
The CSIR Food Fair serves as a call to action to ensure no one is left behind in the journey towards food sufficiency and well-being. The fair, which started on October 16, is scheduled to end on.
Let's take a breather. Back shortly with more news. Please stay.
He knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained, and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is our individuals, it's 3 CDs per month or 36 CDs per year. If you have multiple sets, meaning 2 or more in your household, it's 60 CDs per year. For commercial institutions, it's your number of TV sets by 36 CDs per year, and you pay the invoiced amount directly to GBC. So let's all take a moment to appreciate Kwame, the TV license legend. Wherever you are, just dial *447*333# and follow the prompt. It's your civic duty, so pay your TV license today. GBC, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
Welcome back. Let's do some business news. The production of all goods and services in the Ghanaian industry sector grew by 8.2% year-on-year in the second quarter of 2024, relative to 7.6% recorded in quarter one. This represented a 7% growth in quarter two to 99.8% in 2024 quarter two. Mining inquiry spurred the growth, growing at 8.2% in quarter two from the 7.6% recorded in quarter one year-on-year.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service Index of Industry quarter-on-quarter, in quarter two of 2024 relative to quarter one, industrial production grew from 99.9 points in quarter one to 99.8 points in quarter two of 2024. Water supply, sewage and waste management has seen a significant dip in growth from the 8.7% year-on-year growth rate recorded in quarter one to 1.2% in quarter two of 2024. Production fell from 2.9% recorded in quarter one to negative 1.4% in quarter two of 2024 in quarter one year-on-year. The Index of Industrial Production measures the short-term.
The Association of Rural Banks, ARB, has called for its inclusion in the government's 170 billion cedis bailout package for individuals whose funds were locked up during the 2019 financial sector cleanup. The association says its members are in financial distress due to a president of the association, Eric Daning, is optimistic that their inclusion in the disbursement of the bailout will have a positive internal CEOs conference of the rural and community banks, which is ongoing in Ho, the Volta regional capital.
The annual CEOs Conference of Rural and Community Banks provides the platform for the 147 chief executives across the country to deliberate on issues affecting their banks and chart a path for progress. Top on the discussion list is the 500 million cedi locked up investment of members, which are yet to be settled since government's 2019 financial sector cleanup exercise. The association is concerned that disbursement of government's 1.7 billion cedi bailout package has commenced without the inclusion of rural and community banks. The national president of the Association of Rural and Community Banks, Mr. Eric Daning, said this is despite members submitting several appeals to the government to release their locked up funds.
Given that the association, which currently amount to around 500 million Ghana cedis, the disbursement of these funds can substantially influence the functioning of the 147 RCBs by enhancing our balance sheets.
Managing Director of the ARB Apex Bank, Mr. Alex Kwesewa, said the domestic debt exchange program has negatively affected the rural banking sector, costing investors some 1.2 billion cedis. Mr. Ewa stated that the sector is, however, recovering through the implementation of robust programs.
These twin events constitute a major drawback to the big potential of the rural banking sector in our efforts at expanding the frontiers of financial intermediation, deepening financial inclusion, and offering maximum support to the economic growth agenda.
The board chair of the ARB Apex Bank, Dr. Tony Obing, urged the government to provide rural and community banks with one-time concessionary loans for the purposes of on-lending to small businesses in the regions to alleviate poverty in the country.
Government should consider rural banks, strong rural banks, to handle government funds, because the capacity of the rural banks, thanks to good governance, restricted the funds to only some commercial banks.
The second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji, lauded rural and community banks for their role in ensuring
the Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki as his new deputy president, a close ally of the Ruto. Kindiki was a top contender to be his running mate during the 2022 elections. His appointment still needs to be approved by Parliament, violation of the Constitution. He has denied the accusations, describing them as politically motivated. Gachagua had failed to appear before senators. but they refused to delay proceedings, seen as showing their determination to remove him from the job months after he fell out with Ruto. And parliamentary elections, the Organization for African Development, OAD, has launched the Peace Goals 2024 event, the group where at the presidency to officially get the blessing of President Akufo-Addo.
The Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Mustafa Yusuf, led the delegation to the seat of government. He was accompanied by the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, Ms. Kathleen Nadi, and the founder of OAD and the lead organizer, Mr. Bonaventure, in collaboration with FC Barcelona, the National Peace Council, and Ghana football legends. It will feature a peace convocation and a legends football match. Mr. Aguiz's elections across the African continent.
Saturday, we believe that when the stars are around, including our local stars, hence those people, they will play together with
President Akufo-Addo warmly welcomed the initiative, noting the vital role football can play in ensuring peaceful elections.
I think initiatives like yours are important.
Scheduled for November 9, 2024 at 1 p.m., the event will feature a star-studded football match at the Accra Sports Stadium, including legends from Barcelona, led by Brazilian football icon Ronaldinho, and Ghanaian football heroes such as Abedi Pele, Asamoah Gyan, and Anthony Yeboah. The initiative aims to foster unity and encourage peaceful elections across the country.
92 second and third tier clubs have been housed in 5 groups with some exciting.
Was the venue for the draw for the preliminary round. 92 second and third tier clubs were grouped with some exciting derbies. Premier League clubs will join the competition in the round of 64 scheduled between November 29 and December 2, 2024. The round of 32 is set to take place from January 10 to 13, 2025. As per the season's plan for the competition, the round of 16 matches will roll out from February 21 to 24, 2025. The quarter-final and semi-final matches are set for March 28 to 31, 2025 and May 9 to 12, 2025. The chairman of the GFA Marketing, Sponsorship and Events Management Committee, Mr. Frank Nelson Nwunkulu, said he expects nothing but excitement from the teams.
The FA Cup is a cup that involves, when we say it involves, literally we call it Odia and Odia, and I'm sure everybody knows why we say Odia and Odia. It's a simple language that nobody respects nobody. From region to region, from zone to zone. So we're just trying to say, this is another year, 2024-2025. We all know how it's been going. But in every year, we want to progress, want to make it better, want to see it more brighter than it used to be. This year, we want to see it in an excellent way.
The grand finale of this season's edition of the MTN FA Cup competition will come off between June 14 to 15, 2025.
In art and entertainment, it was a night with social media influencers and content creators on Spectacle, GTV's entertainment show, which airs every Friday at 8 p.m. These young charms
Snapchat influencer Zaino the Reverend, who has occupied the Snap space with his content, had this to say.
Over the year, day or 2 days, you frame it.
Eldest young female TikTokers, an influencer in lifestyle and fashion, Lena Octave, was on the show.
You just have to stay positive, stay focused. Don't let what people are saying drive you away from your focus.
He is known for his book.
Trending assembly. I just talk about it. So I make sure I make it a little bit light, like I said. But I say it's such that
content on social media platforms has broken a lot of unfaithful.
who's as a normal squad. I a sika for business form. Sniper only didn't ya. Bitimikoni a cheat to me so. You send them mom. The metro our for a Madam Jai Nusikana Okano.
The show couldn't have ended without a performance. This is on the mic, Black Jesus.
You always gotta think twice, you gotta be calm to face the tension. No need to be nice, family gonna eat up your pension. I only wanted a slice.
This
Hear the fly when they go round. We feel like I hear say the EC they register people for secret too. They add thousands of names to the register. I no go lie you. I hear say they do that for the EC headquarters self. Oh yes, and they tell you that they add thousands of names to the ruling party in Stronghold, when they delete thousands of names for the opposition in Stronghold. I tell you.
If the rumors about the Electoral Commission be true, then this election will be free and fair.
Yeah, my thinking exactly.
This is the table of men.
So you left the women can't join the table.
I'm sorry to disturb you. I couldn't help but overhear your concerns. So I beg, make her put your heart at ease small. Look, a lot of these rumors and hearsay you have been talking about, a lot of them may not be true. Many of them are just lies. They may not be true. How shall I? First of all, I am with the Electoral Commission, so I get all the correct feel I give you. So let me break it down for you. All right? See, first, 21 days before the registration exercise, the Electoral Commission publishes the location of all registration centers across the country in the Gazette. And every single political party knows the exact location of every single registration center throughout the country.
Oh, wow.
In fact, do you know that the political parties, they have their agents at every registration center? It's not just the agents alone. Even accredited observers are also right there at the registration centers.
It makes sense.
But how the parties will know say the numbers be accurate? See, every single day, all the political parties, they receive start of day and end of day reports. In fact, that is exactly how they collate the total number of registered voters and the figures that the Electoral Commission publishes. It always matches with the figures. It be fringing, it be clear as daylight, my brother. Look, number one, political party agents and accredited observers present. And the most important part is that the figures that are published by the Electoral Commission, we will never fall for this license. Look, you should know that the Electoral Commission stands for transparency and accountability in motion. Anyway.
Now you know the truth about the voter registration spread of misinformation. Remember, the EC no go fit add one figure self to the registered voters. The 2024 election registration process, it be French, it be clean.
This week on Straight Talk Africa, the war in the Middle East is intensifying. 1 year responding to a brutal attack by Hamas on its citizens on October 7th, 2023, where 1,200 men, women and children were killed and over 200 were taken hostage. Repeated efforts by multiple parties to negotiate a ceasefire have failed. What will it take for the fighting to end? Straight Talk Africa starts right now. Has expanded it. The identified victims organizations providing humanitarian aid. Let's go to Linda Gratz.
This is a pretty serious to receive the Strip every day, and if not, the U.S.
that it will actually hit.
Been allowed was not really concerned about what might assassinated. Some 200. It's were a few, though at best. Israel has won at the beginning of the war, which is the largest intelligence failure in Israel's history. How did they not know that Hamas would send 3,000 people across the border into Israel. 1,200 people were killed, mostly civilians. Elections in Israel. Unlike many, and has not what went wrong. You have on the table for months Palestinian prisoners, including hundreds of murderers, and would then get back.
And we know the U.S. has really been pushing for that. Netanyahu says Israel will continue to attack Hezbollah without mercy everywhere in Lebanon, including Beirut. Right now, there is an evacuation order for the southern part of the country. For more on that, let's go to Patricia Koda in Beirut.
Army is in the Bekaa Valley as well in the Beirut. So in
that this war could there.
There are different Lebanon. There are so many Lebanon, and some are economic. Now we have many displaced. We have 1,200,000. So like into this politics. So they have ministers in Hezbollah is the Mediterranean on the Mediterranean Sea. So the administration, the 1701, or it is like distancing itself from Hezbollah because be implemented. So we live calmly.
Okay. Well. Thank you very much, Patricia, for lending in their toll is this rapidly evolving situation. Let's bring in our guests here in studio, joined by Sanusha Naidu, a senior research associate with the Institute for Global Dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to State Talk Africa. Now, first, let me just start with South Africa. Sanusha, you're all the way there in the southern tip of the continent. How is this situation in the Middle East being viewed in terms of the long term? Because we've already witnessed a year of brutal fighting in Gaza. Now we're seeing the expansion to Lebanon. But looking forward, what is the pulse? I mean, right from where you are.
Good day, Vincent, and good day to the colleague in studio. I think it depends from which lens you're asking that question. If you look at it from the government perspective, and South Africa has been very active as on the ICJ and the case against Israel and the genocide, etc. I think on that basis, South Africa still projects that it's a two-state solution in terms of the crisis. The ceasefire is very much part of that question now in terms of the extension to Kenyan law being applied, the rules. So that from the government perspective, divided narratives. You see people that find its way into and fit for purpose. And then on the ground, the civilian and the humanitarian in terms of the interpretation of Israel, the narratives, and it gets polarized in many ways.
Yes. Now, who's something let's say I think would be the best?
The Lebanon war. They are not the same war. They might even be simultaneous. There's no really likes war. In fact, there are small groups of people in power. The other group of people that are, and I think they wanted to provoke, as part of a long movement from the secular nationalists in the PLO and turn the Palestinian cause into an Islamist one led by them. They wanted Resolution 1701, as your correspondent was saying, which would involve Israel withdrawing from Lebanon, Hezbollah removing itself 25 kilometers north away from the border to the observers.
And we'll continue our discussion on the fighting in the Middle East. Stay with us.
In times of change, when the world seems, in what we hear, truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people united with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and every week on Healthy Living. Right here on VOA.
In the digital age, and parents across the world are engagement. Even worse, acting them from their children. On this week's edition of Our Voices, we will explore the new challenges of parenting in the digital age and long-term effects of smart